Belly is about to destroy everything in The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 8. Her choices, her confusion, and her inability to let go will finally explode into a disaster that none of us can look away from. What began as a summer romance has now turned into a storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and broken bonds. And in Episode 8, the fragile balance between Conrad and Jeremiah will collapse once and for all. But the biggest question is, will Belly finally face the truth about what she wants, or will she ruin both brothers forever? Episode 7 left us in absolute chaos. Belly has already proven that she cannot separate love from selfishness, and this will become even clearer in Episode 8. Let's be honest, she is standing in the middle of two brothers who have carried scars from their mother, their family, and now from her. Conrad has finally reached the point where he cannot hide his feelings anymore. He confessed that he still loves her, words Belly has been waiting to hear since she was a child, and yet, instead of joy, it only caused her to spiral further. Why? Because Belly is torn between the comfort of Jeremiah's attention and the depth of Conrad's love. She wants to be chosen, she wants to feel secure, but she also knows in her heart that no matter how much Jeremiah adores her, she has never been able to shut Conrad out. And this is where Episode 8 begins. Belly trapped between two truths that cannot coexist. The morning after Conrad's confession will be nothing but destruction. He will try to take back his words, acting as if they were said under pressure, even though we all know he meant every single one of them. And this is what makes it worse. Belly is angry, confused, and desperate to control a situation that is already slipping away from her. She knows Conrad wasn't drunk. She knows he spoke from his heart, and yet she will dismiss him, accuse him of only speaking up because she's marrying Jeremiah. This is where her downfall truly begins, because she is not only rejecting Conrad's love, she is rejecting her own feelings too. She has spent years secretly waiting for him to finally say what she always wanted to hear, but when it happens, it is too late. Or maybe she has made it too late, and this contradiction will eat her alive in Episode 8. Jeremiah, on the other hand, is not blind anymore. He has always lived in the shadow of Conrad, always doubting whether Belly truly loves him or if he is just the safer choice. In Episode 8, this insecurity will explode when Belly admits that Conrad confessed his feelings. Jeremiah will question her, push her, and demand the truth she has been running away from. He knows about the Christmas she spent with Conrad. He knows about the unspoken feelings she hides. And finally, he won't allow her to cover them with excuses. Belly will deny, of course. She will cry. She will beg him to believe her. But Jeremiah has already seen enough. The cracks in their so-called perfect relationship are too wide now. This is not just a fight. This is the end of the illusion that they were ever truly solid. But here's the problem. Belly does not stop. Even after Jeremiah says he cannot marry her under these circumstances, she still insists on the wedding. She clings to the idea of marriage like it will fix everything. Like saying, "I do," will erase Conrad from her heart. And this is the biggest tragedy of Episode 8. Belly is not only blind to her own heart, but she is also ready to sacrifice the bond between two brothers just to hold on to something that was never hers to begin with. Isn't it insane that she thinks a marriage built on denial can ever last? Isn't it cruel that she forces Jeremiah to ignore the truth he already knows? This is why Episode 8 will be brutal, not just because of what Belly does, but because of what it does to everyone around her. Conrad and Jeremiah's relationship will collapse, and Belly will be the spark that burns everything to the ground. The fight that has been brewing between them since Season 1 is about to explode. Conrad cannot forgive Jeremiah's betrayal, and Jeremiah cannot forgive Conrad's honesty. And in the middle stands Belly, the girl who wanted to be loved so badly that she destroyed both men in the process. This is not the love story she dreamed of when she was young. This is a nightmare of her own making. And by the end of Episode 8, she will have to face the truth that she never wanted to admit. Maybe she doesn't deserve either of them. The cracks that started forming in Episode 7 will split wide open in Episode 8, and there will be no going back. Belly is not just standing at the center of this love triangle anymore. She is the one twisting the knife deeper into wounds that were already bleeding. The confession from Conrad lingers in the air like a shadow, haunting every interaction. Belly wants to pretend she can silence it, push it aside, and still walk down the aisle with Jeremiah as if nothing has changed. But can anyone really believe her? Deep inside, even Belly knows the truth. Her heart never stopped belonging to Conrad. Every glance, every memory, every tear proves it. And Jeremiah, though he desperately wants to hold on to her, can no longer deny what he sees in her eyes. Jeremiah's anger in episode 8 is not just about Conrad, and it's not just about the wedding. It's about years of living in second place. He has always feared that no matter how much he gives, no matter how much he loves, Belly will never love him back the same way she loves Conrad. And in this episode, those fears will finally be confirmed. When he confronts Belly about her feelings, he isn't just looking for an answer, he is demanding a truth she cannot bring herself to say. He asks about Christmas, about the secrecy, about the emotions she hides whenever Conrad is around. Belly denies, she cries, but denial cannot erase what Jeremiah already knows. It is not just about a single moment or a single kiss, it is about a lifetime of longing that Belly has tried to bury but never could. Jeremiah sees it. Conrad sees it. The audience sees it. And Belly herself feels it burning inside of her, even if she keeps trying to shut it down. The tragedy is that Belly refuses to stop. Even after Jeremiah says he cannot marry her while Conrad's confession hangs between them, Belly still insists on the wedding. Can you believe that? She still believes a rushed marriage can cover up the truth, as if saying vows will erase the history she shares with Conrad. It almost feels desperate, doesn't it? Like Belly is clinging to Jeremiah not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of losing everything, fear of facing her own heart, fear of admitting that maybe she was wrong all along. And this fear pushes her to the point of recklessness. She is ready to destroy Jeremiah's trust, Conrad's bond, and even her own dignity, just so she can hold on to the fantasy of a perfect love that never truly existed. And let's talk about Conrad here, because his silence in episode 8 will speak louder than words. After Jeremiah confronts him, after Belly dismisses him, Conrad is left broken in a way we haven't seen before. He knows Belly loves him. He knows she has always loved him. But he also knows that no matter how much truth he speaks, Belly is too afraid to admit it. And so, instead of fighting, instead of standing his ground, Conrad begins to withdraw. He blames himself, he questions his worth, and he convinces himself that maybe the only way to give Belly peace is to walk away. But is it really peace he is giving her? Or is it just another sacrifice? How many times has Conrad given up something he wanted for the sake of others? How many times will he have to pay for loving someone too deeply? The tension between the brothers will finally boil over, and it won't be pretty. Jeremiah has carried resentment for years, and Conrad has carried guilt. And Belly, whether she admits it or not, has fueled both. When Jeremiah throws that punch, the one we have been waiting 3 seasons for, it won't just be about the wedding. It will be about everything. About every time Conrad got chosen over him, about every secret Belly kept, about every smile and glance that proved he was never truly enough. That punch will be the breaking point, the moment where the Fisher brothers can no longer pretend to stand side by side. And Belly will be standing right there, watching the two people she claimed to love destroy each other because of her choices. What's worse is that even when faced with all this destruction, Belly still does not fully grasp the weight of her actions. She still believes she can mend things, still believes she can keep both brothers in her life, even if it tears them apart. But love doesn't work that way. Marriage doesn't work that way. Family doesn't work that way. And this is why episode 8 will hit harder than anything we have seen so far. It is not just about who Belly chooses. It is about what is lost in the process. The Fisher brothers' bond, their trust, their unity, it will all be shattered. And Belly, for all her tears and regrets, will have to live with the truth that she is the one who broke it, Episode 8 will push Belly into the most impossible position yet, and it's almost painful to watch because part of you still roots for her even as she ruins everything. She is caught in this unbearable middle ground where every choice she makes hurts someone she loves, and yet she cannot stop herself. She wants Conrad, she wants Jeremiah, but more than anything, she wants to be wanted. That has always been her weakness, her need to be loved more than her willingness to love in return. And this is what makes episode 8 so devastating. Belly isn't intentionally cruel, she isn't trying to destroy lives, but her indecision, her fear, her desperation, all combine to create a chain reaction of heartbreak. When she finally tries to explain herself to Jeremiah, when she admits to certain moments with Conrad, it will not be enough. He knows the truth. He feels it in every glance, every hesitation, every whispered word that Belly cannot quite control. And here's the thing. Jeremiah isn't the villain in this story. He has loved Belly openly, loyally, and fully, but the truth is that she cannot return that love the way he deserves. How tragic is it that sometimes love, even the purest kind, isn't enough? And then there's Conrad, standing silently on the sidelines for most of the episode, his emotions a storm that he refuses to unleash completely. Conrad knows Belly loves him. He sees it in every look, every slip of her heart, every secret that spills out when she thinks no one is watching. Yet he cannot force her to admit it, cannot force her to choose him, cannot force her to stop hurting Jeremiah or herself. So he watches, quietly, patiently, painfully, knowing that each moment of delay, each denial, is like another cut into his own heart. And the tension here is unbearable because the audience feels it all. You can't help but empathize with Conrad, scream at Belly to wake up, and feel the fury boiling inside Jeremiah at the same time. It is chaos, it is heartbreak, it is the perfect storm of drama that The Summer I Turned Pretty has been building toward since the first season. Every interaction, every word, every silence carries weight that could crush them all. Belly's insistence on moving forward with the wedding, despite the truth being out in the open, is perhaps the most frustrating part of episode 8. It is almost impossible to watch without yelling at the screen. She clings to the wedding like it is a lifeline, believing that saying "I do" will solve everything, when in reality, it is just accelerating the disaster. This is the moment where her immaturity is so painfully clear. She is still young, still learning, still trying to figure out how to navigate love, but the consequences here are not just hers. They belong to Conrad and Jeremiah too. And the way the show frames it, it is impossible to ignore the emotional weight of her choices. Every decision is magnified, every glance interpreted, every confession dissected. It is emotional chaos, and the tension never lets up. Meanwhile, the confrontation between Conrad and Jeremiah will escalate in ways that are more violent and emotional than anything we've seen before. Conrad's quiet honesty clashes with Jeremiah's boiling rage. The punch that finally lands is not just a physical blow, it is the embodiment of every jealousy, every rivalry, every moment of insecurity that has been festering for years. And watching it, the audience can't help but feel torn. Part of you understands Jeremiah's frustration, part of you feels Conrad's pain, and part of you desperately wishes Belly would just see what she is doing to everyone around her. But she doesn't. She is still trying to process her own heart while everyone else suffers. And that's what makes episode 8 so suspenseful. It's not just the wedding or the fights, it's the emotional stakes. It's the unraveling of trust, love, and family bonds, all because one girl cannot yet face the truth about herself. The end of episode 8 promises heartbreak, not resolution. Belly may try to convince herself that she can fix everything, but by this point, it is clear to everyone else, Conrad, Jeremiah, the audience, that she cannot. The relationships are fractured, the trust is broken, and the love that once seemed simple and innocent is now tangled in guilt, betrayal, and confusion. And yet, somehow, the episode leaves you on edge, desperate to see what happens next. Will Conrad finally step back and let go, or will he risk everything to fight for Belly? Will Jeremiah forgive, or will this mark the end of his patience and loyalty? And what about Belly? Will she finally face the reality of her choices, or will she continue down this destructive path? Episode 8 is more than just drama. It is an emotional roller coaster that tests every character and leaves the audience breathless, furious, and heartbroken all at once. Episode 8 will be the moment where the consequences of every secret, every denial, every unspoken word come crashing down, and Belly will feel it all hitting her at once. She has spent so long trying to control the chaos around her, trying to manage Conrad's feelings, trying to manage Jeremiah's expectations, trying to manage her own heart, and now it's spiraling completely out of control. Every choice she makes, every hesitation, every denial amplifies the tension, making the audience feel the weight of her mistakes. And here's the thing. She doesn't even fully understand the impact of her actions. She thinks she can balance everything, thinks she can protect everyone while still pursuing what she wants. But love and life don't work that way. When Conrad finally confronts her, not with anger but with quiet hurt, it will be a moment that cuts deeper than any fight or confession. He will show her that words are not enough, that actions are what define love, and that she cannot hide from the truth any longer. This confrontation will force Belly to confront her own heart, the one she has been ignoring for years, and it will shake the foundation of her relationships in ways she cannot yet process. Meanwhile, Jeremiah's frustration and jealousy will reach a boiling point. He has already been living in the shadow of Conrad, always feeling like he is second best, and Belly's indecision will only magnify that insecurity. When he confronts Conrad, when emotions finally spill over, the fight will be inevitable. The punch he throws will not just be about betrayal, it will be the culmination of years of rivalry, of longing, of feeling inadequate in a situation he has no control over. And watching it, you can't help but feel torn. Part of you sympathizes with Jeremiah, the brother who has loved Belly openly and genuinely, but another part of you empathizes with Conrad, the one who has waited patiently, who has loved her deeply and sincerely, only to be met with denial and confusion. The tension is unbearable, the suspense palpable, and the heartbreak unavoidable. Every second of this confrontation is loaded with emotion, and you can feel the stakes rising with every word and every glance. Belly's reactions during this chaos will be both frustrating and heartbreaking. She will oscillate between denial, confusion, and fleeting moments of clarity, never fully able to commit to one truth. She wants Conrad, but she wants the safety and approval of Jeremiah. She wants love, but she is terrified of the consequences. She cries, she yells, she pleads, and yet she cannot stop herself from making choices that hurt everyone around her. And as an audience, you feel it with her. You feel the tension, the frustration, the heartbreak, but you also feel anger. How can someone who claims to love both so deeply act in ways that threaten to destroy everything? And yet, that is exactly what makes episode 8 so riveting. It isn't just drama for the sake of drama, it is raw, emotional, and real. Every action, every word, every glance carries consequences that cannot be ignored, and you are left on the edge of your seat, unable to predict what will happen next. Taylor's role in episode 8 will also add another layer of complexity. She will not side with Conrad blindly, and she will make it clear that he cannot continue to confuse Belly or himself. Her words, though sharp, are necessary. They force Conrad to confront his own feelings and acknowledge the chaos that has resulted from his silence and honesty. But this only increases Belly's confusion. She is caught between her love for Conrad, her obligation to Jeremiah, and the expectations of everyone around her. And in the middle of all this, she realizes that her decisions are not just her own. They affect every person in this triangle. The suspense builds because we know that every choice she makes in episode 8 will have irreversible consequences. There is no going back, and the audience feels the tension of every moment. By the end of episode 8, Belly's recklessness and indecision will leave everyone reeling. The bond between the brothers will be fractured. Conrad will question whether waiting and loving someone silently is worth the pain, and Jeremiah will struggle to forgive what has already been revealed. Belly, for her part, will be left to confront the magnitude of her actions. She wanted love. She wanted to be wanted. But in the process, she has caused heartbreak, anger, and confusion on every side. And this is what makes episode 8 so unforgettable. It is not just a chapter in a story about love, it is a lesson in choices, consequences, and the painful reality that love, no matter how strong, cannot fix everything if hearts are not honest with themselves. By the time the episode ends, the audience will be left breathless, emotional, and desperate for what comes next. Every moment, every confrontation, every tear will linger long after the credits roll, making episode 8 a pivotal turning point in the season. Episode 8 will leave viewers questioning everything they thought they knew about love, loyalty, and the consequences of our choices. Belly's actions have set off a chain reaction that cannot be undone, and by the end, every relationship in this tangled triangle will be tested to its limits. She has refused to face the truth, denied her feelings for Conrad, and clung to a marriage that is already on shaky ground. And yet, somehow, you can't help but feel for her. She is still a young girl trying to navigate emotions far bigger than herself, but the reality is unforgiving. Her immaturity and indecision have consequences that reach far beyond her own heart. Conrad and Jeremiah have both been pushed to the brink, and the episode will show us just how far their patience, love, and loyalty can stretch before snapping. Conrad, despite his quiet strength and sincerity, will be forced to confront the pain of loving someone who cannot fully acknowledge their own feelings, and Jeremiah, who has tried to do everything right, will finally let his anger, jealousy, and frustration explode in ways that leave nothing intact. The tension between the brothers will be palpable. Every glance, every word, every misstep magnified, and the audience will feel the heartbreak, anger, and suspense as if they were living it themselves. Belly, in the middle of it all, will be forced to look at the wreckage she has created. Every choice she made to protect her own heart, every hesitation, every denial, has contributed to the crumbling of relationships she swore she loved. She will cry, she will scream, she will plead, but by episode 8's climax, it will be clear that words alone cannot fix what has been broken. She cannot erase the confusion in Conrad's eyes, the rage in Jeremiah's, or the tension that now fills every space between them. Her desire to be wanted, to be loved, and to feel in control of her life has collided with reality, and the result is chaos. And as the audience, we feel every second of it, the suspense, the heartbreak, and the frustration of knowing she could have chosen differently, but didn't. We see the pain she causes, but we also see the girl she is underneath it all, the one still learning, still human, still vulnerable. Conrad's quiet suffering will resonate more than ever. He has always been the steady, patient, and sincere force in this triangle, but episode 8 will test him in ways that push him to the edge. He has waited, he has loved, and he has stayed silent, but the chaos surrounding Belly's decisions will make him realize that sometimes love is not enough. Watching him pull away, feeling the heartbreak in his eyes, and witnessing the internal struggle of whether to fight for the love he knows is true or to step back and let go, will be some of the most emotionally charged moments of the season. And Jeremiah, who has lived in Conrad's shadow for so long, will finally have the chance to let all of his insecurities and frustrations out. The confrontation between the brothers will not just be a fight, it will be the emotional crescendo of years of rivalry, longing, and heartbreak, and Belly, still unable to face her own emotions, will be at the center of it all. Taylor's role in episode 8 will further complicate the story. She will act as the voice of reason, pointing out the chaos and destruction that Belly has caused, forcing Conrad to reflect on his own choices and confront the pain that comes with loving someone who cannot face themselves. This will heighten the suspense because every interaction, every decision, and every conversation will have lasting repercussions. Nothing in this episode is trivial. Every glance, every word, every hesitation carries weight. The audience will be left holding their breath, waiting to see what happens next, wondering if there is any hope for reconciliation, or if the destruction caused by a single girl's indecision will leave permanent scars on everyone involved. By the end of episode 8, nothing will be the same. The relationships between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah will be irrevocably altered. Bonds will be strained, trust will be shattered, and hearts will be broken. The suspense, heartbreak, and emotional intensity will leave viewers desperate for the next episode, unable to stop thinking about the choices, the mistakes, and the love that could not survive the truth. Episode 8 is a masterclass in drama and suspense. It's brutal, emotional, and utterly captivating. And as we wait for what comes next, one thing is clear. The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3. Episode 8 will be remembered as the moment where love, honesty, and desire collided in the most unforgettable, heart-wrenching way possible. Every character will be tested, every bond questioned, and every viewer left on the edge of their seat, emotionally drained, but craving more.